After all those sheep had to be good for something.
This is woolen thread. And this is a frame loom. It's very basic. This is the warp running up and down, and the weft crosses it. So, to weave, you pass the weft up and over each of the warps. It does the job, but it is, as you can see, a very time-consuming and very laborious. And if you're a big strapping Yorkshireman trying to keep your family, it's no good. So, when this came along, weavers could actually make a living out of their craft. This is the hand loom and represents a significant improvement. Same principle. Here's the warp and the weft goes through. But this loom got a piece of kit invented in 1733 by one John Kay that doubled the output of these looms, and it was this. The flying shuttle. Only not very flying. So instead of throwing the shuttle through the warp, you can now just whack it across. And the weavers would keep it in the family. The children carding, the women winding bobbins and spinning, and the men up here weaving. You can see how big the windows were. They'd want as much natural light as possible for these fine yarns. Another thing they used to do to gain as much possible light is to give their walls a lime wash. Lucky there was plenty of it about.
The flying shuttle was a major breakthrough. Weavers could now earn a living selling their cloth, transported to market on the canal. With the canal came a massive increase in trade and industry to Yorkshire and Lancashire. The cottage industries of the region, wool and cotton manufacture, were becoming mechanised, but weaving lacked a usable power source. Spinning mills sprang up around fast-flowing rivers, utilising running water to power the new-fangled spinning machines, cotton in Lancashire, wool in Yorkshire. But weaving couldn't utilise water in the same way. It's difficult to get a constant speed from a water wheel, and if you haven't got a constant speed, the weave isn't uniform enough. So, they came up with this. Whereas on the hand loom, the pedal rotates the lifting of the sheds, on this one, the pedals do everything. Lifting the sheds, throwing the shuttle, the lot. So, if you could pedal, you could weave. Each shuttle throw is called a pick, and this loom works at 120 picks per minute. Of course, you wouldn't necessarily just do nothing all day. You can improve yourself spiritually. Perhaps you could sing some hymns. Dear Lord and Father of mankind, forgive our foolish ways. We clothe us in our rightful mind, in pure the lives thy service find, in deeper reverence praise, in deeper reverence praise. But it was still one person, one loom, and until that changed, weaving wouldn't really be revolutionised. What you needed is something that could power a whole stack of looms at once. The textile industry had found a way to allow the new steam engines to power their machines. With the canal able to provide coal and raw materials, massive weaving mills sprang up. This one is at a museum, the Queen Street Mill. There's only one boiler working now,
and that gets through 10 tonnes of this a month. But when both boilers were going at full steam, the boilerman down here got through 6 tonnes of coal a day, 6 days a week. Steam power had finally arrived in the textile industry, and this is what the boilers are generating steam for. It's a tandem because there are 2 cylinders, one in front of the other, like a bike. Compound because the steam is used more than once. Condensing because downstairs is James Watt's separate condenser creating a partial vacuum in this, the big cylinder. Steam engine. All right, Owen? It develops 500 horsepower and it drives this 4-metre diameter flywheel. And I can feel the air off that.
This engine, powered by coal, transported on the canal, was built by Roberts of Nelson in 1894 and drives the looms of this Lancashire cotton mill.
Mesmerising, isn't it? That's the crosshead. Connecting rod to the crank there, which is turning the wheel. All that power. Then you look down here, and these are going the wrong way. What's that all about? Because this is what it's driving. 300 power looms. You can get an idea of how loud it is, but you can't feel the concrete floor vibrating. These are much more advanced than the pedal looms, weaving at 180 picks per minute, as opposed to 120 for the pedal loom. Now, everything is powered by steam. All the weaver has to do is change the weft in the shuttle and maintain the loom. So one weaver can look after 8 looms.
The power loom was invented in 1786 by a rector, Dr. Edmund Cartwright. It wasn't just a case of connecting a steam engine to a pedal loom. Weaving 50% faster required a loom with greater tolerance. Mill owners loved it, especially the cotton barons of Lancashire.
But they took a while to catch on in Yorkshire. Wool was more delicate than cotton and harder to weave. By the 1830s, the first power looms appeared in Yorkshire, but they still needed some fine-tuning. By the 1850s, there were about 4,000 of them. But by 1874, there were 30,000 of them running.
Steam-powered woolen mills sprang up around Yorkshire, nowhere more so than in Bradford, already a trade centre for wool.